Hi, my name is David from Insurance Transparency, and I was asked to be here today to go over some very important insurance benefits provided by your employer to make sure that you understand two very important coverages: your life insurance that's provided by your employer and the disability insurance that should also be covered or provided by your employer. Most employers with 1,000 to 15,000 employees are going to be providing these two benefits to you at no charge. And they're great benefits. They're great benefits because they provide you protection or your family protection in case of your untimely death, life insurance. But more importantly, if you are disabled because of an illness or accident, the disability insurance is going to protect your income on a short-term basis, usually up to 90 days, maybe 120, and then on a long-term basis for up to age 65 after that benefit commences. Now, the long-term disability and the short-term disability, sometimes, depending on the way your contract is written, even though that benefit is going to be a portion of your payroll, 60% of your take-home pay, sometimes because of the way the contract is worded, you're going to have to pay taxes on that 60%. So in essence, your take-home is going to be 45 to 50% of your normal take-home pay. So while disability insurance is there to be a benefit to you, sometimes the provisions underneath are not going to help you do what needs to be done, which is to pay majority of your bills when you're disabled. So I was asked to be here today to give you a little background on both of those coverages, but more importantly, to talk about some of the great ways and the dynamic changes going on in the way those two benefits are purchased by your employer. In the past, and in most times today, those two insurances are purchased through a process called an RFP, Request for Proposal process. That process is very long, it's very tedious, and it's very hidden. Why do I say that? Well, typically those processes are going to be run by an insurance agent, benefit consultant, benefit broker, but more times than not, they're going to be run or directed by somebody who's the friend of somebody within the company. While the intent is to get your company the best coverage at the best price, that's not necessarily the case all the time because of the hidden agenda that may be on either by an insurance carrier to sell a certain type of product, not necessarily the product that's in the best interest of you or your fellow employees. Or it could be the hidden agenda of somebody that may not have the best interest of the company at heart. Changes going on in the market and the purchasing of these benefits include the use of a procurement process or purchasing process that's been around for 15 years. Many large Fortune 500 companies use a process called e-sourcing or procurement. And those processes, in essence, will be able to get rid of the antiquated RFP paper-driven process that is hidden, not transparent, and very stagnant. The online technology tool that's available to large employers is now being designed for employers with 1,000 to 15,000 employees. Perhaps you're an employee in one of those companies, or perhaps you work for or in a leadership position in one of those companies. If you are, this is very important. The process that's available out there in today's market will not only give equal access to more than 10 A-rated insurance carriers, which is what you want. Current processes usually limit it to 3 or 5 carriers, their favorite carriers, but now you're going to have a broader market on an electronic basis where everything is timestamped and electronic signatures. Everything is documented. The process will determine who went in to make a change. The process will identify who did it and when they did it. So there's a full transparency of this whole RFP process. The drawback of that RFP process is agenda. We're not sure what agenda is being followed, simply because that broker may go to a limited number of resources for your company. The contracts that are offered by those different carriers may not be up to date. They could be antiquated contracts, not written to pay a claim or not written to release a claim as easy as it should be. Or maybe the claims processing part of an insurance carrier isn't taken into account. The other issues with that RFP process is the way that the price model works. Carriers are simply going to call that agent and say, hey, how does my price look compared to? The agent's going to respond accordingly. Maybe the carrier will go down a few pennies, if at all. The challenge with those types of processes is the length of time. It doesn't get the results that your employer wants for themselves and maybe not get the contract that's best for you. More importantly, with continued pressure to reduce costs, we're not sure if that antiquated way of doing business is going to be able to do its job and help reduce premium costs. The new way of doing business is using current technology. This procurement process is online, it's dynamic, it compares apples to apples, it extracts the best information from each and every carrier on a live basis, it condenses the processing time of an RFP process to 40% of what it used to be. The procurement process, using this technology, will not only be able to secure the best type of contract for your employer, which in turn is passed on to you, but at the end of that evaluation of contracts, this process uses a reverse auction technology that is like taking a knife through a cube of Jell-O, and it's going to cut down to the bottom line pricing that's best for your group. It's not a race to zero, but because of the pressure that each carrier feels to bid their pricing down, your pricing is going to be improved. Your contracts are going to be improved. In essence, you're going to get a better contract at better rates, something better for your family. Let's compare that RFP process, the antiquated RFP process that's lengthy, that has hidden agendas, and that doesn't get the results that's needed for you, to a way that's using current technology through a process that's proven, condensed, transparent, and will have your best interests in mind. The issue with the RFP process as is and has been is that it's relationship driven. The relationship was established by somebody within the company who knew somebody who could help them purchase insurance. But the real question is, who's buying the insurance for your company? What's the agenda? Is the best product actually being purchased to give to you and your fellow employees? That question has to be answered by you or your HR or your CFO. What I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with the relationship. Relationships are very important. Relationships have to be had because there needs to be trust. But what's very important is the process, the discipline of the process, the transparency of the process. Is what is being purchased what's best for you? Is what is being purchased the most current type of contract out there? How do you know what responses are coming in? Does your HR, CFO, or procurement officer have access to the responses that are coming in? There are processes out there, live processes, that everybody can view as they occur. The process is called e-sourcing, a procurement or purchasing process. Because of technology and the way things are moving, this insurance purchasing is now becoming very transparent and very dynamic. There's no relationship that can drive a decision. What's going to drive decisions for your company is what's best for your company, not what's best for somebody else. And at the end, once the best contract is secured, then those leading carriers, they're going to fight for your business. Not in an auction going up, but they're going to fight for your business on a reverse auction. Who can provide a lower bid? This driving of pricing down is going to make your price lower. It's going to make the price for your employer lower, and then it's going to give you a better contract. So what's best? Is it best to have a relationship first with agendas, with maybe not the expertise and knowledge, with hidden things going on? Or is it best to have a relationship after that defined hardening process is used to be able to get you the best contract at the best rate? Relationships are important. I'm not saying that there's no value to a relationship, because relationships will get you through life. But what's important is when that relationship is established. The way things been with the old RFP process is simple. The relationship that was had, that person drove the decision. That person went to certain carriers. That person identified what the different benefits were from each different carrier. What's the agenda? We're not sure. But that relationship is important. The way things are going, the way technology is bringing insurance purchasing, is it eliminates that relationship in the beginning. Because what you need, what your employer needs, whether that person be in HR, procurement, or finance, is they need to have a disciplined process that's transparent without any hidden agenda. The relationship that the person conducting that event has with your employer, well, that'll be important later on if it's decided to use that person. One of the exciting things about the way this new process works is the upfront agreements that are had with the A-rated insurance carriers that have agreed to participate in the process. Your company will have access to over 10 A-rated insurance carriers who have agreed upfront to work with us during this process to identify a better contract for you and to give you the best pricing available for your group. It's not a race to zero. It's a race to the right price for your company. It's a race to the right price for you and your family. It's a race to make sure that your family gets the best product, the best contract, to pay a claim timely, to pay it accurately, so that you're not sitting there wondering, where's my disability check? What you may like best about this as a CFO is the fact that we're taking a procurement process, something that you probably already use in other areas of spend within the company and have seen the successful results, and the ability to make a clear, unbiased decision based on the information provided. We're taking that discipline now into a new category of spend, the category of insurance. Let insurance decisions be clear. Let them be defined. Let you have the confidence of knowing that you made the best decision for your company, that you got the best price, and you're not going to have buyer's remorse. The number one response from CFOs and CPOs is the fact that this process allowed them to see the intricacies of insurance without the influence of relationships. The old way of doing business, the RFP process, typically driven by relationships somewhere, well, the value to human resources with the new way of doing business, with the dynamic approach of procurement and e-sourcing, is simple. You get to be a winner either way. Here's how it's a win-win for you. Number one, by going through this process, you can either justify the current pricing and program that you have in place. You're a hero. You've done your job. Or, number two, if this process vets out the results we're expecting it to for you, you just embraced current technology in an area unknown before. You're going to impress the CFO and your employees by providing better benefits at better pricing. Either way, you win. You justify your current expense and relationship, or you justify change to save money and improve contracts. There are 3 reasons why HR loves this process. First, if they already secured the best contract at the best rates, this proves it. Number 2, if you don't have the best contract and price in place, this will get it. Number 3, this process will be able to help you get a better benefit package to attract and retain the type of employee that you want. Lastly, the savings give you 2 new options: raises or new hires. As a procurement officer, you're already fluent with this technology. But what this process does is it brings that discipline to the insurance category of spend. CFOs, procurement officers, this is insurance cage fighting live. This is the process that you want to see happen. It is a condensed battle for your business. What do CFOs say? No remorse, saved a ton of time, confident decision. That's what CFOs say. Insurance transparency, procurement discipline with reverse auction technology.